Well, earlier this week, San Diego Unified School District updated its cell phone policy for students. And joining us to discuss the new rules is Richard Barrera with SDUSD Board Trustee. Good morning, Richard. Good to see you.
Good morning, Lauren. Great to see you.
Okay, so this goes into effect actually before the California law deadline, which was July of next year. But this goes into effect August 11th, first day of school. Give us all the details of what this entails.
Yeah, so Lauren, we've had a policy in place in our district actually for over 20 years, but of course the use of cell phones by students has really exploded over that time. And we see a cell phone becoming sort of an attachment, to
I think we're all guilty of it.
We're all guilty of it, right? But students really need a little break from that, and school should be an opportunity for students to first of all be able to concentrate, focus on academics, but also focus on making friends, being in person, creating those sort of social opportunities. So what we're really doing now is we're updating the policy, but we're also making sure that there's consistent enforcement of the policy across all schools. And so what this means is elementary and middle school students, put your cell phone in your backpack. It's not to be used during the school day. High school students, same thing, at all, period.
Okay, so that's elementary and middle school must be in the backpack, not to be looked at at all.
At all, period.
Carry on.
And high school students, same thing, except for lunch and, passing periods. You can, do a quick check on your cell phone. But classrooms, what's happening during the school day, it should be in the backpack.
Okay, so classroom time in the backpack, but passing periods, you're going to have a lot of collisions because they're going to have their heads in the phone. Okay, so explain the enforcement side of it, because that's obviously the next question.
Yeah, well, so part of this is the process, that we went through to update the policy included a lot of student voice. So our elected student school board members led a process with their peers to identify what would make the most sense. So, we're hoping that students will be part of, the advocacy actually to, to implement the policy, to follow the policy.
Peer-to-peer pressure in a way. Hey, put it away.
Put it away, yeah, exactly. But look, I mean, if a student, consistently violates, and we expect that that's going to happen early on. Schools that have already done a good job of, enforcing the policy talk about at the beginning, there can be some issues. But as the school year goes on and kids get used to it, kids actually very much like it, like having that space, where they're away from the phone, away from social media. We'll confiscate the cell phones if that needs to happen. Sort of if a student needs to be referred to a counselor, it's like any other, behavioral issue. But our goal here, again, is it's not about just, sort of enforcing the policy and getting kids in trouble. It's about getting kids away from something that really can affect their mental health, really can exacerbate bullying, at school. Get a break away from it. Learn what it's like to have some space and time where not everybody is on their phone all the time. And, the examples that we've seen in other school districts around the country is, again, students' academic performance improves, students feel less anxious, bullying goes down, and students actually report that they're making friends more often because they're spending time face-to-face.
I mean, I'm kind of surprised that this wasn't just the standard already.
Yeah, it was, but it wasn't enforced consistently across our schools. And again, when you have a policy that was put in place over 20 years ago, it didn't take into account the rise in use of cell phones by students, even the youngest students.
Right, first graders with cell phones.
Exactly. So a lot of this is about, making sure that we have consistent communication to principals. They know how to communicate with both students and parents. And we're expecting to see much more consistent implementation of the policy.
And really quickly, because we're out of time, just touch on, if you will, any feedback from parents, whether they were overly supportive of this or really not happy with this? What was your sense of?
Parents were extremely supportive. So once we developed the policy with parent input from the PTA, with student input, we then surveyed parents and students, and we had 5-to-1 response of, people being extremely supportive. I think parents themselves understand that students getting a break, away from the issues that drive anxiety.
You would hope.
Yeah, it's going to be very positive. Yeah.
All right. Well, Richard Barrera, thank you so much, and hope everybody takes note before August 11th.
Absolutely.